Welcome back to the Life of Phys Podcast. I'm your host, Tyson Martin. On this follow-up episode, we welcome back Ben Tobin, a photographer whose work continues to document the quiet, honest moments of everyday life in Spokane. Since we last spoke, Ben has been steadily refining his visual language, deepening his commitment to long-term storytelling, and continuing to capture Spokane not as a backdrop, but as a living, breathing character. His photographs reflect patience, presence, and the unmistakable respect for the people and places he documents. In this conversation, we talk about what's changed since his first appearance, creatively, personally, and philosophically. We dive into slowing down, staying rooted in your local environment, building meaningful bodies of work over time, and why documenting your own community can be one of the most powerful things a photographer can do. This episode isn't about chasing moments, it's about staying long enough for them to reveal themselves. Now let's get to the show. And I mean, for people who don't know who you are, Ben, I'll just let people know, because if they haven't heard the other episode, Ben and I have known each other since, I want to say 87, going into junior high.
Yeah, 86, 87.
Yeah.
Played on the same baseball team together.
Yep. Skateboarded together, rode BMX together, and we found each other a few years ago. I mean, that's probably been 10 or 15 years now, but on Facebook.
Yeah.
And
you knew some of the same people I knew from mountain biking from Canada.
Yeah. And we both got into mountain biking. Ben, it was, I would like to say you were influential in your photography, especially when in the Decline era of the Decline mountain bike magazine.
Yeah. That was a fun time.
Yeah, I bet. And Ben is in Spokane now, Spokane, Washington. He captures, I'm going to move a lot of this to the front of the show.
Sure.
We just started talking right off the rip.
Yeah.
He captures life in the city, and he captures it in such a unique way that he hit me up. When was that? A few days ago. And you said, man, I have something, I feel good. Something's changed, and you kind of explained to me that you've put the sword down, and it's good, man. You look good.
Thanks, dude.
See it. I can see it in you. So different than the last time.
Oh man, I wanted to. Last time we talked, I just had a lot of processing that I was in the middle of, and I felt like I could have either I could just jumped out of my skin at any moment, just because everything was so on the surface. It was really cool to come on and talk about, because it was some raw stuff, but it was really nice to be able to be honest about stuff like that, and to move forward where, that it's kind of bizarre, like those thoughts of not wanting to be anywhere, and just to those are like very far. They don't happen like they used to. It's because there's like a deep internal love story that you're fulfilling, no matter what the outcome is. And it gives it a different tone. It's softer. It's more inviting. There's no manipulation happening. You don't feel like you're getting pulled into something that you didn't sign up for. It feels good. It's not easy, but it feels good.
I'm happy for you, man.
Thanks, dude.
I am.
I appreciate it having me able to talk about this. I was like, just feeling something. I was like, I'm gonna hit up Tyson and see what he thinks.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, because I'm actually I'm doing a December because I'm so busy between now and then, but I'm going to do a Christmas run with previous guests. So 20th to the 25th, all previous guests doing their follow-ups.
Oh, crazy.
So it'll be sick, because I've got 3 of the 5 days booked already. So it's like I can put out these shows where I can link it back to the first one, and then people can hear your growth, right? So they can hear you, they'll hear your first one. They can go back, listen to the first one when you were struggling and going through your thing. And I mean, we got pretty raw in ours. Ours was kind of like, there's some stuff I'd never shared, but some of the first stuff I let out, which,
Yeah, it's a hard one for me to listen to be honest, dude. Like I've listened to it a time and a half after we did that, and I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, bro, I lived that. I'm good.
yeah, I can tell you, 10,000 people have listened to that.
Whoa.
I've received many, many messages about the words we shared that day. And
Ah,
I appreciated you being like, I know it probably helps because we knew each other, but like we hadn't seen each other in 30 years at that point, or 25 years. But man, just the fact that it was real, it was us. We shared from the heart, we shared authentic. We weren't trying to bring up, oh yeah, listen to us because we want to be cool. Nah, man, we're so past that part of our lives. And now, bro, we're at 50. We made it to 50, dude.
mm-hmm.
And we both, I mean, I almost lost my life in October. And like, while I was sitting in the hospital recovering, I had 4 weeks in that god awful place. All I could think about is, all right, I have more days behind me than I have ahead of me. And I came out of the hospital like begging to get home for my 50th birthday. You know, I can't, they let me out the day before. So I got to have my 50 at home with my family. And ever since then, I've been trying to find ways to heal, get healthy again. I have a book idea that I'm working on currently. But most importantly was how to make this show connect with even more people. And, you know, I've learned some behind the scenes stuff, you know, about SEO and all this stuff I had no clue about. And it's really picked up, you know, a lot of the older episodes, people are coming onto the show, finding it, and they're heading right to number one and listening straight through. And I can watch the numbers.
Hmm.
You know? Like I look at the playable hours, and I'm just some dude from Canada who had an idea, and I jumped and I went for it, and it's working. It's doing what I wanted it to do. It's bringing story of people without discussion of gear, without discussion of anything. We're talking real story, projects, things that are important to us, what that connection is between the camera, our creativity, and our mental health. But we're doing it without the stigma of having to worry about what people think. And man, that feels good. That feels so good.
I bet it does, man. I
So,
mean, it's quite an accomplishment.
you know, and I always watch, man. I always watch what you're doing. You know, I'm always looking through the photos, and I'm just like, you know what? I love what Ben's putting out, and I think the fact that you're doing a book, want to do a book, is such a cool, and it's a step that, you know, you're going to put out these images with story. It's like that book you shared with me many years ago, Dignity.
Oh yeah.
Like that one, you bought that book and you're like, man, this book changed my like opinion on a lot. And then I bought it and I was like, oh, damn. You know, like it put everything that into perspective. And it also made me realize, even at my worst time, how lucky I really am. You know, I've always had a house. I've always had a roof over my head. I've always had food on the table. I've been lucky, you know, and reading those books, they're so powerful. If they don't inspire you, there's probably something wrong with you.
Yeah, or you just got too much that you're faced with it. It's just it's too heavy on your heart to try to digest. And there's people that kind of like that guy I was telling you earlier, you know, he's lost his dog and holding that sign, and that's the holding the sign is a little more or less like all the energy he has left. Well, there's people that live in brick and mortar and have a car and have the 401k plan and all the shit. And guess what? They're just as tired as that dude holding that sign.
Yep.
They're just faking it. And I see on people's eyes when I walk the city. Um, I see it, dude. This is kind of a crazy thought. I see it most, the most obvious place to see someone just like pinned in all their chaos is them just staring at their phone in the city, waiting for the bus or waiting for something. They're just that thing is like such a nasty beast in our city. Um, I see so many people locked on their phone walking around the town. You're like, dude, like I don't know how you can multitask like this, but you need to kind of pay attention, please.
Yeah.
Um, there's people driving, being on the phone and crossing crosswalks and reading your phone is it's just like we're in a weird time, dude. And I'm not gonna go tell them that what they're doing is wrong, but if us as photographers can capture stuff like that, whether it's humorous or not, um, it's and post stuff like that, that's us having that's working as a collaborative and not using any words and just going, what do you want that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like dude's on his phone and cars are trying to turn right now. He's not moving very fast.
Yeah.
And all it is a sense of like being fluid in our cities, having a sense of respect for each other. Um, and I think that goes a long ways.
Oh, I agree 100%, man.
Um, I there was a morning a few weeks ago, dude, it pissed me off actually. I was, oh, the sun set on the street I was on was like fantastic. And I'm like, Mr. Chatty dude, early in the mornings, I'm like, want to tell someone like, look at that sunset. Well, first person I see is just glued to his phone. He's like waiting to get into this building. Next person I see glued to their phone. It literally took me six people. I found this dude in a alleyway that was walking from the grocery store, and I'm like, oh, finally. He's like, huh? I'm like, someone without their phone. He's like, he just starts laughing. And he's like, oh, yeah. And we end up having a really good conversation piece. He ends up being 52 years old and does his own tattoos and lives down the street. And his name's Chris. And like, I don't know, like, I had an experience because he doesn't have his freaking phone in his hand.
Yeah.
And we didn't exchange numbers or nothing. We just knew that we're gonna run into each other again. Like, but it took me more or less six people to like connect.
Yeah.
And it
So,
really like, dude, we're not in a good place.
yeah, definitely not, man. It's a weird, weird world right now for sure.
And I'm like, it's funny, like I'm extremely hopeful no matter what, but man, things are funky. Like, and I think that's the biggest thing. Like, you put the sword down and like you get an extra sense of hope.
Yep.
And not the most they don't have the most awesome days um always carrying that around, but it's tangible without like feeling like you got to raise your blood pressure and hold a stance that you actually don't have to hold. I think as we start growing older, especially like I just turned 50, and I remember when I was 39, going from 39 to 40 was quite a jump, you know. Um, it felt like 10 years happened all at once. Just the reality check. But when you get hit with 50, um, it kind of comes back to we start thinking about what have we done? Well, what's the fruits of our labor?
Yep.
Um,
More days behind us than we got left ahead of us.
yeah, that there's a lot of ways we start trying to manage how we're interpreting the exit strategy, which is um, completing life, and you have no idea when that's going to be. I have a grandmother that's I believe in her mid 90s, and you know, I she never thought that she's going to be alive that long, and I think she can have some jokes about the longevity of her life as well as a lot of other things. But I think what I'm getting at here is um, I don't want to get in the mindset I'm preparing to die. The last time I was on actually on your podcast, I think we talked a little bit about some of us were born with this thing inside us that we wake up one day and we don't really like being here very much. And what's interesting about just in this year's time from 49 to 50, I was on this path, this metaphoric path of like, how do I put the sword down? Like I just grew up just in a certain mindset, a certain way of doing things, and um time continues, and you realize one day that you've been swinging a sword around for quite a while, and some of us get kind of good at doing it, um and then it's hard to put down. But the putting down part is kind of the whole part of telling your body that it's only a vessel. It's it's only a grounding unit. You rely on it. It creates limitations for you. And the great thing about coming to this crossroads of your life is you get to choose to live in this body and watch yourself slowly deteriorate, or you can accept the concept of maybe there is a soul inside you, and there's something you can do with that because that soul that you feel still feels alive like you did 10 years ago. That soul still feels alive 20 years ago. That soul still you.
Yep.
That dude that you those little characters, when you and I were in junior high, dude, there's not much difference right now.
Yep.
I really lay all down. Yeah, we were young, we didn't know nothing. The world was like there was no internet, there was magazines, but dude, the world was infinitely large for us.
Yep.
And to still sit here with all the technology and all the connection and everything, that the world can still be infinitely large if you want to participate in that concept. And that's, I'm with all the people you've had on your podcast in the last year, everyone's got their way of explaining explaining it.
Yep.
And it's um what's really cool about it is I think as photographers, um we're we're kind of ghosts in a sense. We're the background. We're not supposed to be noticed too much, and we go take in all this information and try to put in front of people and let them sit with it without words. And as you start doing that, um, with that concept, with applying the putting the sword down, you really start seeing the work. It's like like when I go see someone on the streets that I want to connect with, I see myself in them. I see something, and I want to somehow like embrace that and not like highlight it, like, but I see something of myself in this person, and it allows me to connect. And so the concept of putting the sword down allows me to look at my work especially when I'm thinking on the concept of my soul, I get to finally like truly connect with my work. And when I truly get to connect with my work, that doesn't mean just the viewfinder. That means I, I I get to connect with my subject matter and my city and the light and the clouds and the cracks in the concrete and everything else that comes with it. Um, that it feels like these things are all threads that connect to the soul and like just nourish it. And there's something beautiful about that because the soul the soul is clothed, it's got the exoskeleton and all that shit. But it's time to create, man. Like it's just time to create.
Yeah.
And creating creates connection with yourself. And once that connection fires hard, you start connecting with the outward.
Yeah.
And that's like lately I was telling someone recently, I'm like, dude, something's shifted. Like the portal opened and I'll use an example. Like yesterday I sat next to a woman named Carol, but I'd seen her already a few days before and I was like, hey, do you mind if I sit down? And just calm voice and she's like, all right, sit down. Another dude walks by. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? And he's like, you want to sit with us? Next thing he's sitting with us, and we're all sitting on the curb. We're all sitting on the same level. We're all like connecting on the same way, eye contact, and slowly like adjusting our facial features to like somewhat express like this is okay. And it and today I'll use another example. Today I was walking back to my car after connecting with this dude, photographer, super nice dude, a couple years younger than me, sober guy. Really had a good connection with him. His name is Lawrence. I actually told him I was going to be on this day, so I'd say something. He's a good dude. Like,
Thank you.
and it was cool connecting with him, and I parted ways with him, and I was walking back to my car thinking about that connection. There's this dude holding a sign. It's like almost lunch, and it's at Monroe Street and Riverside, and it's like one of the busiest intersections in town. I looked at the guy, I was like, "Hey man, you care if I sit down next to you?" And he's like, "It's kind of the same thing." And I sit down and I get on the ground level with him. He's holding the sign. It's four lanes of cars and one part, another two lane. Like it's a grid. I'm just sitting down there with him, and like not more than like 45 seconds go by, maybe less. He just puts a sign down and goes, "Someone stole my dog."
Oh man.
And the dude's like probably in his 70s. Looked pretty ragged. I don't mean that in a bad way. He looked wore out.
Yeah.
So that sign, I was sitting there, I was just trying to like connect in a weird way with like the whole soul thing. If you want to you connect, talk about that. I could just feel the dude was doing everything he possibly could to keep this sense of hope in front of him. And him just like talking about his dog getting taken. It's been gone for 2 weeks, and he's like sitting there a couple hours a day, hoping somebody's gonna walk by with it, but he doesn't have much energy. And when you're sitting there and you see him holding the sign and you're like, There's no way I know how to connect with him on this one. This is like a whole nother level, and the only thing I can do is be present if he wants me to be with him."
Yeah.
And one reason I'm talking about these things is that these are things I probably wouldn't have done a few years ago, not comfortably.
Yeah.
And I have a couple of friends in Portland, my friend Ryan, and he has a person that he cruises around with, which her name's Tara, and they do street photography, and it's gnarly work. It's different. it's a different setup than it is Spokane. Spokane's so much more tangible, and the, there's not as many resources, and it's rather conservative here, and people and our weather is way more gnarly than Portland's. But what they do is they get in places and like their lives are in danger, I would have to say, anytime they go out in the streets. And they're doing this to like, for one, with me, like just find who they are, but as well, like some of us know what it's like to like not be invited to the party. Some of us know what it's like to show too much vulnerability and get pushed aside because we show weakness. So some of us know what's like to fall in love and let it just kind of collapse in front of us because we don't know what to do. It's not anyone's fault. The world is a pretty gnarly place, no matter how much connection we have, especially coming out of the pandemic. But why I'm bringing these people up is like that there are these rogue people that go into our communities with everything that they can possibly pour out of themselves just to show other people a little bit that humanity just isn't at your church, or isn't at the grocery store, at your potluck or Christmas or workplace. It's it's in places that smell like shit and piss and needles, and people have nicknames, and people have stab wounds and fucking bullet wounds, and um but the interesting part about this is at least for me, these people still want to live. They may have a drug habit, they may whatever they have, but they have a will to live. And it's not my job to go save them, but for some reason, whatever I was hit with, um, I have this thing. I wake up and I just want to grab my camera and go connect. I don't have like I I don't have a bucket list. I don't have an Instagram strategy. I My website sucks. My, people ask me for prints, and I don't have a print shop. Like, people want me to do art shows, and I am like, and I'm not trying to be like, I'm not trying to talk like I'm not appreciative of this in any way, shape, or form. Um, my art, my format is connection. Um, and it's hard on me. It's hard on me because I sign on a dotted line to myself to show up on a daily basis, like no matter what. And for me to say that, it's not fucking easy. Um, I think there's a lot of people that we know that probably understand that as well. Showing up for yourself on a daily basis is not easy, day in, day out.
100%.
And so I just knew that like that sword was too heavy to carry around um on a daily basis, and also keep showing up for myself and have somewhat of a um be somewhat gracious, be somewhat uh happy that I'm alive and happy that I have a an outlet to go capture what I want to do, which is connect with people.
It takes a special insight to be able to do what you do, what Ryan does. Ryan's I have a recording set up with him in October.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, the 6th, I believe we're sitting down to chat about his journey. Um, but a lot of times they just want human connection. They just want that moment of someone to acknowledge them as a person.
And that's about it. I you know, I started this out as like this like way to not go to the bars in the evening. And that's not like I'm not like a sober person. I don't want to go talk about my sobriety. That's not gonna how I want to make my life mission statement. Um, there's I would much rather go down and be like, hey, I'm gonna go hang out with a bunch of misfits. Um, and I'd rather go hang out with them in the mornings or the evenings than go to some art event in the city. Not to say they're not important, but I like doing stuff behind the scenes. I don't feel like I need to go to the party. I've been to enough parties in my life. Um, I am very familiar with how they start and how they end, at least for me. And not my jam.
Yeah.
Like my new party is waking up fucking early and dealing with myself. And it's not so much like getting down before the sun comes up anymore. It's more like getting down there and when people are starting to move and shake and seeing the city come alive. That's also kind of a difference for me. Um, I really wanted to see what it was like for quite a while with the city like before it's awake, and there's like nothing going on. There's people smoking fentanyl in the bushes and stuff, but nothing nothing that's gonna like blow your mind. It's just it's pretty quiet. We live in a really beautiful town. Um, something and another thing, I haven't really wanted to talk about this too much, but there's something that kind of rather bugs me in my city. Um, we we have a we have a group of people that go and walk in our city at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and that they're gonna walk until all the problems are fixed. There's some problems going on, I guess. And at that time of day, you know, people are sleeping on the sidewalks. People are trying to just find some place to like get rest until they get kicked out of a spot. And that they feel like they need to do something with these people, like get them the help that they need. And when I look at this, I I I have a hard time understanding because not only doing that, that they literally are having a marketing campaign for whatever they're doing, and it's going out throughout the city, and they're more or less saying, our town is not a good city to conduct business in because we have too many problems with drug addicts and this, and that. And I'm like, dude, our town is absolutely beautiful. There's uh, Portland and Seattle have horrific problems compared to us, and people are still conducting commerce. They're trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
They're trying to they're trying to like I went to Boise recently, and I saw in Boise that was kind of weird. I didn't see very many unhoused people, but there was a lot of art in alleyways and um you could tell something's connected there that's not connecting where I live.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go to war of any sort with this group of people that go walk downtown. Um, I actually don't want to go there anyone. Like I I just want these entities to see that the people that are on our streets, maybe you could just stop and go, why is it that I have to get them off the streets? Why do I have this urgency to get them off the streets? Maybe I need to look at myself. And I think when you start looking at yourself, start self-reflecting, there's probably more problems with yourself than there actually is with what you're so mad about with what these people are doing. Just maybe the fruits of your labor suck. Maybe you're at an age, the fruits of your labor aren't that awesome, and you're mad and you're kicking the dog. And not only that, you got a whole group of people from your generation, fruits of your labor aren't so hot. The city's not doing what you think. And it just kind of stinks. And so instead of trying to like get people to work together and like highlight the beauty of the city, highlight that we've got a bunch of nonprofits and they're trying to all work together, but then you got these people trying to separate, trying to create this weird frequency of disconnect. And all people are trying to do is solve a problem, which is have a place for these people to go and feel okay going there. You have to give people space to be able to choose where they want to go. And there's going to be always a base of people that are going to not ever want help until they choose to get the help. Like, but there's no making them doing this. And I think just the fact of taking photos and connecting with people, maybe someone will look at that just a tad bit different. And eventually, maybe after I'm dead, people are looking at the marginalized in a different light. Um, you know, it's the future generations that are important to educate. The older generations that they're gonna resonate on their stuff, and not too many of them are gonna backtrack.
Yeah.
You know, that's the whole thing of kind of going back to the whole getting into like the soul part of yourself, like tapping into that versus tapping into this raggedy piece of shit that you're fucking gonna eventually become, not to be so harsh, but like, you know, every day there's a little bit of deterioration happening in our bodies. And it's not a bad thing, it's just life. Um, and if I can be 50 years old, walking in a city, I'm appreciating how beautiful it is and wishing the best upon people that don't have a place to go or don't have any hope, except like living in one more day. Like, I don't know, dude. Photography is not what people think.
That's the thing, is a lot of people don't know the connection the camera has to the soul when you express it through your images. You know, like for me, when I was getting into photography, and I remember I talked with you when I was just starting to really like dig it. There's just something that comes through me from the inside every time I click the shutter. There's a piece of me that's in that photo that I found. And then with you working with that personal connection with the people, there's always there's always personal connection between the two of you. You have to be comfortable. You don't just, you're not just the typical person who takes a photo from across the street. You're right there with them. You're talking to them. created a rapport with them enough that they allow you to capture an image. That's a special gift.
Yeah, when you I don't want to keep talking about it, but when you talk to Ryan's on a fixed lens, it's up close and personal. He has to get that way with his Leica, and it's extremely intimate being that close with somebody. And um me, I I like shooting with my Fujifilm. I use a 27 millimeter lens, which ends up being 40 millimeters.
Hmm.
Um, I I like using that lens a lot. That's just something that I've learned to appreciate. So everyone's got their thing of how they connect with people. Um, but when I started thinking about when you start using a wider lens, it does make you get closer to your subject matter, and that takes that takes courage, especially people that could be smiling at you one minute and slicing your throat the next.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's happening. I don't know anyone that's ever happened to, but I'm just saying that could happen.
Yeah.
Like when I was hanging out with that dude yesterday, his nickname's Stabby. He didn't get that from hugging people. Um, he had enough knives on him to stab 50 people. Like, um, he's a really nice dude, but you have no idea what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm not trying to I'm actually really don't want to make street photography out to be like this super crazy dangerous thing. It is more of a experience that I wish more I'd be careful with this. Um, I hope more people can go explore a city with a camera by themselves and kind of learn the intimacy of the camera that it has with the city. Um, I'm not a big fan of people cruising around in groups. It looks like a safari or an expedition, and by what I know of living in the big city, I've always appreciated the idea of like cruising around by myself on foot or bicycle and exploring and connecting, and um it's a sense of like it's empowerment in a sense. Like y- I learned when I went off to college in Seattle for art school. I had a bicycle and I got to connect with the entire town of Seattle, and in the night, in the morning, and connect with other people on bicycles. And but it was more of a solo adventure, dude. And it was like this kind of same thing as shooting photography. It's a solo adventure.
Yeah.
We make friends that shoot photos, but we're not like really talking about camera gear. We're talking about connecting. You, you know, um, and we're definitely not talking about the gear so much. At least I'm not.
No, I don't really even talk about gear anymore. I don't mention it. I don't bring it up on my show. I mean, it's not, I mean, everybody says it matters, but it's just a tool. It's a tool that helps me express how I feel. Right. So there's no point talking
Yeah.
about it, man. Everybody has a personal connection. Everybody has a brand that speaks to them. It doesn't matter. Right. So,
It's just what you want. You know, I go in phases. Like I just start getting into flying my drone again, and I don't even a lot of the stuff that I learned to do when I was younger was all work related, and now when I go fly a drone, it's like the sheer experience of flying the drone, um, and doing like cool stuff with it, like um, it. And I've kind of wanted to apply some of the drone stuff to city stuff, like city photography, thinking that way. And I haven't really like explored it too much yet, so it's a new tool for that. Uh, but the smaller drones now you can fly them without having too much like worry or restrictions, and
yeah.
Um, but yeah, whether it's a drone or freaking your phone, Fuji, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
No.
Um, it's a storytelling device. It's when we I think it's kind of funny that and there's a photography podcast. I'm not trying to make fun of this, but we're photographers because um at least for me, like talk a lot, like a lot to say, like
Yep.
way fucking too much, way fucking too much. And you're like, I sneak take a photo, and then here's a composed thought or thoughts,
Yeah.
and we're just gonna pass this forward. And as you learn to do that in repetition and see your work for you do understand that you don't have to talk so much. This is a great device for people that have ADHD or whatever spectrum offsets they have.
That's so true. It's
It's
such a
just a great, it's just such a great tool to like, at least for someone like me that is much into solitude. It's a great place for me to escape.
yeah. I mean, I was back in last October. I was back home in the old hood where we grew up, and I made the turn, went downtown, and I'm like down where all the skate shops used to be, and I'm like looking around. I'm like, how did I used to come here at 13?
Yeah, Chinatown. Dude, going to Rebel Skates.
Yeah.
Go. I mean, I think you and I went down to we went to what was that shop? Not Rebel. It had all
Cal,
the paddleboards.
was that
Huh?
Cal Streets or whatever?
Yeah, yeah. I think
The one on Cooch Street or
yeah.
yeah.
That place. Yeah, man. We'd go there and I mean, it wasn't great. Like, I mean, there was people that um definitely didn't have places to live, but it was nothing, nothing like it is now.
I mean, I was back in Milwaukee and I saw homeless people in Milwaukee. That wasn't a thing growing up.
No, my dad's work was between Portland and Milwaukee, and there's railroad tracks behind there, and very seldom would you see somebody, um, I don't know what people call them, like hobos. I don't really care for that for the terminology.
Yeah.
Uh, I drifter. I just this doesn't really. They're people. They're just they're on a journey.
Yep.
But yeah, we didn't see this growing up. Um, I even like went off to college in Seattle. I lived in dorms, and there was people that would get blasted drunk behind us. That they were a group of dudes, and they'd start singing and stuff. But it wasn't much. It just wasn't anything. In the mid '90s, it just was nothing like it is now.
Yeah. Even here and going downtown is an experience. It's not it's not where I grew up. It's not the Vancouver I remember. Um, and I mean, I'm not really that doesn't bother me, but like lately, there's been so many unprovoked attacks with people being stabbed and attacked, and and I wish there was outlets for people here, to offer just at least offer that support instead of people just attacking.
Yeah, I don't you know w- I don't want to get into our politics at all. Enough people talking about that crap. But like when it comes to our own communities, that's something that we actually can change. And when I was in in Seattle at nighttime, when I'd go walk like Capitol Broadway at night, and I'd be like the guardian angels walking around,
I remember those
like
guys.
with their berets and jackets and stuff, and it they were their little crew, and but my point of that is like I don't feel like we need berets or crew jackets or wherever the hell. We just need more people. Um, that are invested in culture care versus culture wars.
Yep.
Um, that to, and to the concept of culture care literally is, uh, at least for my understanding, for what I have to, you have to put the sword down and you have to walk into like a garden and it's a garden of understanding. Like you're not gonna battle anymore. You're gonna go in and like figure out how to love. And it's not really easy when you get older, especially when you've been swinging that sword around.
Yep.
But
And you get to a point where you just get tired. You get tired of
yeah,
swinging
man,
the sword and you just want to
like
take everything as it comes.
yeah, like I'd rather put the sword down when I can still swing it good and say I'm done than being the dude that can't lift it and still thinks he can.
Yeah.
Like that's a miserable place to be in. And no, you have no friends either.
Yep. Exactly.
Because they all dropped it a while ago too. They're like, dude, sorry, we're out, we're tapping out. Like they got some golf to play, got some whatever, you know. So yeah, it's like and also being spectrum-y, like being on the spectrum thing, like we're we're, we're always going to be dabbling in something. Uh, we're going to be in our 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, just like still engaged in some weird stuff.
Yep.
And so photography is a great outlet that we can all participate in until the day we die or our eyes fall out.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll have AI that takes care of all that by then.
Yeah. It's getting better every day.
Um, but yeah, I just, that it's pretty cool to have a hobby like photography that was once also like a breadwinner for me financially, that got me into like really enjoying the type of a certain kind of work. It was really cool to also go from a commercial side of things to an artful side of things. Um, and it's like going from techno music to writing poetry.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think it's a beautiful transition. I like it. It's not, it's a bit raw on a daily basis. Um, the romance that I once fantasized about does not exist anymore. It's a different type of romance. Yeah. It's it's really slow moving. It's a real slow relationship with yourself and the people you're connecting with. Um, it's just not this intimate, like, you know, get it on in three meetups and we're just best buds all of a sudden. It just doesn't work that way anymore.
No. We're
Um,
way more guarded for sure.
oh, yeah, in so many different ways. Coming out, like literally coming out of the pandemic, I felt like we all got like a Mother Nature gave us just like a STD and said, you got figure it out. And we're like, you're kind of gross.
Yeah.
Like at one time, yeah, but now you're kind of gross.
Yeah.
And I think we still kind of are trying to figure out why people are still gross. And I'm not going to say that I walk around thinking people are gross, but I think as a collective, we're still displaying like, I'd rather not.
Yeah. I get it.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. We're in transition.
Yeah. Well, now that you've put your sword down, how do you see your work changing, or do you see it changing? Do you see it getting more personal?
Um, I just I and this is my own personal opinion. Um, I feel like my connection from the viewfinder to my subject matter um, doesn't so much exist anymore. It kind of like disappeared, even though it's there. Um, there's more of a whisper than there's a voice, and it's allowed me to start seeing um on like a seeing in a structural manner that I can start thinking about putting out a book. Um, I can start thinking about um, why I want to do this, and then what the next step is going to be after that. Um, I I really wanted to like just go on an adventure for myself, and with no real plan of attack, but to do what I've always done with things that I like, which is repeat it on a daily basis. Like create a system and repeat it daily. Um, and that is, I mean, like literally how I got started with shooting my photos and like make myself do something on a daily basis was from the moment I left my car door to my apartment or wherever I was living, I'd just take as many photos as I possibly could in that period of time. And at I remember living in the suburbs of LA in an apartment complex, and it was not exactly the most beautiful place. It was quite repetitive and everything. But I shot a lot of photos from my car door to the door that I had to go through to get to my apartment. And it's the same thing I apply in like today as I go somewhere and shoot a whole bunch of photos. I have a system and come back and dump them. But my overall thing is like I am probably gonna spend more time doing book stuff and not so much doing art shows. Um, Maybe someday, but the book thing to me seems more of a tool that um, could do something than a place where people go eat cheese and drink wine and look at stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and
Or
I'm sure there's a number of people be like, "Dad, I don't think you're right on that," but that's just my approach.
or just put it in a create your own art show where it's more your thing, like FTC Skateboards does their art show and it's strictly like that group of people.
So that is literally something that um, I look at as I would love to do, as much as I kind of talk crap about art clubs. Um, but I wouldn't mind creating a collective of people um, that understand the concept of culture care versus culture wars and try to see how we could collaborate and create not so much of a movement, but just an installation and see where stuff like that goes.
That'd be kind of cool.
Um, you know, I just don't like I the work that we do as photographers. Um, I don't see music being played loud. I don't see people doing circus acts and stuff around it. Um, it's a really intimate thing that we engage in, and very seldom do I wear headphones downtown. But when I do, I mean, I listen to the music that I love to listen to, but it's like my own soundtrack to my own life, and that's an intimate moment in itself as well. So none of these things that I ever do, I'm like, oh man, this would really hit hard at an art show. Even though I do completely agree, seeing myself blown up freaking huge would be awesome. I'd love to see that. Like, I'd love to see stuff, 10, 15 feet tall and like seeing the city of Spokane like through my lens. But that's not my mission for what I'm doing. My mission is just the basic concept of connecting with others.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't have to be this. it doesn't have to be an expedite. I don't have to show off. I just want to hand something off to somebody that they pay for and they look through it and it sits with them for some time.
Yep.
And they got to experience the same thing that I did, which is they get to look at these things by themselves. Just like I got to go capture this stuff by myself. When we're in a big giant room together and everyone's looking at things, I'm like, it's not the same intimacy.
There's something about photo books that it's just a different level. I love sitting and I've got this new thing because I own way too many of them. But every weekend I grab one, and that's my book for the weekend. And I'll sit through it in between recording shows or out shooting photos or renos or whatever I'm working on. And that's the book. And you just can see, you start to look into the images and really feel like you're connecting with the person who put the book out. So I'm fortunate because with the show, I get a ton of books sent to me.
Yeah, you've had some fantastic photographers that have put out some pretty amazing work.
Yeah, I've been very lucky. The show has been very well received. I mean, we talked in March of 2024.
Crazy.
Yeah, and then you came out beginning of April, right? Like at that point, I was 11 episodes in,
Whoa.
still trying to figure out what I was doing, where I was going. And then the episode right after you was like, it was Steve Caballero. Like, what?
That's crazy.
Right. And then I've
Yeah,
had
like
some of my heroes on, like I've had photographers that I idolize and I look at their work and I'm so driven and drawn into it. And like those dudes text me now. And I'm
hmm.
like, what the hell? Like, really? It's been a weird experience because I'm very much like you. I like to be home. I like my solitude. I don't like to put myself out there. But I also got to that point where I said, I have to put myself out there. I have to at least try it. If I don't like it, it's cool. I can cut it off. No harm, no foul. But man, I look forward to these conversations. Like last weekend, I recorded 6.
Whoa.
Yeah, this weekend I have 4. Then I'm doing one at 6 a.m. with an amazing woman photographer out of Utah,
Hmm.
and I'm really looking forward to that one. And I'm really trying to do a lot more with women creatives because there's so many that have so much talent, but they get zero coverage. So
You know, I just started I just reached out to someone in town about a project I want to do. And I'm glad I get to talk about this because it's important to me. I got with my mom recently and I was running some things by her and she's like, "What's going on?" And I'm just like, been hit with this. Just got hit one day with like this vision of the weight that women carry. And it really stung, dude. It really fucking stung.
mhm.
So in my commercial career of photography, it's I lived off a lot of assumptions when I was in relationships. I I I thought everything that the person I was with at the time, everything was all fine and dandy because I assumed that they were doing okay because they weren't they weren't crying or they weren't complaining or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And and then I started realizing um my assumptions have bit me in my ass quite a few times more than I had thought, and which is I wasn't present for them um because I wasn't really present for myself. I was and I, I could be doing too much hindsighting, but at the same time, I'm very aware of how disconnected I was from everything, but just trying to get work for photography, get the work done, and more or less celebrate that I just finished a project and then go do another one. And when you're working as a commercial photographer and working in journalism, you're kind of all over the place. And really like feel fortunate that I got to like hit it hard when I did. Um, and it set me up for what I'm doing now. Because I absolutely like when it comes down to anything, I would, I have, I will, I've given up majority of my commercial career to just resonate as a photojournalist.
Yep.
Um, some people call it art. I call it photojournalism. Um, I mean, yeah, I'm an artist, but I feel like I'm more of an archiver, journalist, connector than I am this thing making stuff, pushing it together and pulling it apart. Like it's not that. Um, it's the art of connecting. And I know I've just said connection too many times on here, but I think that's the overall emphasis of my work. Um,
Awesome. I think we got lots there, Ben. That was fantastic.
Sweet.
Yeah, I got home late from work today, so I'm starving.
Yeah, I'm hungry too. I appreciate
Uh,
having me.
Hell, dude, anytime, man. I love when you're amped on what you're doing and you found a new path. I never thought of it as putting the sword down, but I think that's what happened when I came out of the hospital. I was done trying to be the person I couldn't be anymore. And I'm just me, dude. I just want to have a good time and I want to capture moments and just share them with people.
That's not a bad thing to do.
Yep.
Um, there's enough people feeding. There's enough people veering others off course enough right now.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with like encouraging others to like whatever the hell you're doing right now, just keep doing it.
Yep. And that's where this show's geared. It's just to inspire people through word and let people know there's always a chance. I mean, when I have people like, I had Pete Souza on, who's like, just blew my mind. Um, but he gets into like his struggles, the things he's dealt with, and he's willing to share those on the show. And you're like, holy crap. Like this dude who was in the war room with Obama, right? Like, is talking about the struggles he faced.
So he was someone definitely that inspired me in my younger days as a photographer. Um, it was because of the intimacy that he captured with Obama and the entire entity that came with that.
Yeah.
He was engaged 24/7 in that process. And I think that took a lot. I mean, that was that was like a really like, and he had done a ton of other stuff with Reagan and um, other administrations, but this one, like, it blew my mind what he captured, and that was kind of one of those things. I'm like, I want to be able to like tell a story like that someday. And he's doing it in politics. Like he's making politics look like it has there is a there's brokenness and beauty trying to figure itself out.
Yep.
Um, and that's hard to do. And so I'll definitely back you though.
Yeah. When he was saying he'd never had so much access as Obama granted him.
I've listened to some of his interviews in the past, and he's actually been very vocal about how open that arena was for him.
Yeah. It was cool.
Um,
It was really neat.
yeah.
Like I put him on, like I have a list of people who are like, oh, if they'll just come on. And now, I love surfing. I love surf photographers. So I mean, I released Brian Bielman, who is 50 years in the water. Unreal. And then
Didn't
I
see
have
it.
like Tim McKenna coming on, who is like again another legend. Uh, who else? I just did uh, Christy Funk, who is known as like the queen of pipeline. She'll be in the water for 8 hours in pipeline snapping photos.
Damn.
She's she's a big deal in the surf world. And then later on this month, I have Crystal Wright, who won the Red Bull Illume, and she only woman to ever do it. And she has on Disney or wherever you see National Geographic. There's a show called Photographers. She has a whole episode based
That's
on her.
that's Disney Plus.
Yeah. So she chases tornadoes in it.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of those episodes. But I've not seen hers.
Yeah. So it's a good watch. But man, like I have 50 recordings scheduled, and
Damn, dude.
this isn't stopping anytime soon.
No.
And I just launched the website today. I've gone through, rewrote everybody's intro, like every word that I had before. So
I'll have to
everything's
go. I'm gonna
changed
have to go
now.
look.
Yeah, like I mean yours was pretty sick. Like where is it here? I always have them up because I'm always looking at them. Come on, way back there. So before I just would have your name and then your hashtag, right? Like your
Mhm.
social name, but now it's I gave each episode a title. So
Oh,
yours
sweet.
is Ben Tobin on Spokane, Ben, Ben Tobin on Spokane photography and giving voices to forgotten stories, right? And it's
I
like
like that.
so much about what we talked about in that episode, right? So then I did a big write up on you. Like I got this big write up of what I've taken from it, and then all your links, of course, and everything. So
Yeah, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to go look.
yeah, you
Um,
hop on and you'll see it's all changed. Like I did Spotify, Apple, YouTube, redid the Life of Phys Instagram. Yeah, the threads is like everything's been changed. It's all been updated. The Facebook's been updated now. Learning about
yeah,
SEO, just trying to figure out any way to promote and market myself.
yeah, last year, when we recorded, it's one of those places of space that you just wanted the days to keep moving forward.
Yep.
Um, and I was pretty there's some chunks of time that I was really like hoping it would just go away.
Yeah.
It was just hard. It was hard stuff to work through, and I'm glad I went through it. Just it was really hard.
Well, look where you're at now, man.
I'm right here, dude.
I'm proud of you, brother.
Well, I'm proud of I'm proud that you've got this whole thing going, man. Like um you know as well as I do the connection thing is an essential part of life. It's
Yeah.
a life source.
100%, dude. Well, when the next big thing comes, let's do it again.
Let's do it. Um, I'm excited to hear the new people coming up. You got a big year ahead of you.
Man, it's
50.
it's pretty sick. There's a lot of really awesome people that know what the show's about, and they're excited to share story, and they're excited to share the good, the bad, doesn't matter.
Yeah, and what's great about this is, not being a gear junkie podcast of any sort. Um, People leave here thinking of photography, and it's not like, oh, what camera do I go grab? It's like I'm gonna go grab what I have.
Yep.
That your phone has just as much capabilities as anything. I'm not saying it's as high tech as our as our SLRs, but what I'm saying is that tool can do more than enough to go tell a story if that's what you're trying to do.
100%.
There is access to telling a story with that just as much as an SLR.
Yep.
You just have to know how to do it, which is, like all of us, repeat the act over and over.
Repetitive motion turns into excellence.
It does. Just some of us, it's taken me a long time to understand whatever the hell I'm doing.
All right, bro. I'm gonna go grab some food.
Me too.
But thanks again. It was awesome. Let's
Thank
keep in touch. Let me know how the book's going. I'd love to be a part of it any way I can, help you promote it, whatever you need.
Thanks, dude. I have a plan, and I'm gonna start getting on it here and
Nice.
start letting you know what's going on.
Beautiful. All right, bro. We'll talk soon. Have a good weekend.
You do the same. Thanks for having me on.
Anytime, bud. Talk to you.
All right, dude.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Life of Phys Podcast. I hope today's conversation brought you insight, inspiration, or just a fresh perspective on the creative journey. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to follow, rate, and leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. It really helps us grow and reach more listeners like you. For updates, behind-the-scene content, and more, please follow us on all social medias at LIFE_OF_PHYS. And don't forget to check out the show notes for links and resources from today's episode. Until next time, stay curious, stay creative, and keep living the life of creativity.